Yes, we've met. Just a moment.
New judges. New judges.
Yan na ba yan?
Hi, Justice. Good morning po. Panay-calling ko sa'yo.
Yung kaulan na lang, hindi sa ano.
Just tayo mo na po.
Uy!
May nasiyaso. I said, hi, Justice. I was watching you. Kararating namin yung gabi. Oo, sisiin ako. I know he left ahead of us. He left at 6. He just associate.
Nagko-coffee ako. Sige na.
Mahirap na yan. Abroad pala yan. Wait!
We can now begin.
Hindi na natuloy mo mo?
Hindi po at natakot kami. Of course. Yes. Thank you for the donation.
Thank you po, sir.
Overshot the corner, so sabi ko sa security.
Tawagan.
Good morning. Angels kasi sila. Mga favorite.
How can we forget you? Our mentor. Hindi mo sa ganun ng kanina din. As court nag-release kayo. That's the reason why I was made a member. Di ba December 2, we didn't mind it kasi sa tournament mo. Riviera on sa ang ganda pa. Hindi. Tapos baka sa December 2. Wow.
Farewell ba?
Hasta mañana.
See
you soon.
Ating protocol.
Padala na ako ng ano ko. Na Filipino. Malay mo.
Good morning. You were ahead of me, but you overshot me. So I asked Justice yeah. That's right. We were anticipating the rains and the winds, and there's none. We were supposed to play this morning. But that's only one time when I can meet you.
On December 2, because it's the tournament for the Chief Justice. Yeah, Saturday, same place, Riviera. Just play for fun in the exercise. Saturday, yes. Wow! That's the preparation,
Of course, in the United States, it's pronounced Abe Lincoln. Yes, but normally it's made for a man. Even for a lady, it's
Sir, good morning.
So I had a short chat with him. I know him very well and his daughter. Just now.
join us.
Wala. O baka nasa judges.
Presiding Justice of the Court of Appeals. Presiding Justice Reyes.
Nurse po namin.
Yes, one of them.
Ang pangalan nila.
Fred Plaza.
Fred Plaza. Mr. and Mrs. Fred Maraming salamat. Hello.
Morning, ma'am.
Hello. Nurse po. Designer guest po. Maita. Papalagay ang video sa Kaya nga ang unang-unang ano namin eh.
Tumaga ko lang si Paris.
So matutulay na what started.
Sisikaw pa na yun. Hindi na. That's your
Morning, sir. Morning po. Yes, this hi po. Good morning.
Kamar. This morning, come in. Yes. Come in, come in. Come in. Hello? Come in. Yes? Come in. Saan po tayo?
Dito na po.
Because of you.
Ikaw ba si FBA? Si FBA.
Andyan po sa
20 Asian judges and justices from 9 countries attending the Asian conference. And included in the group are 2 Konrad Adenauer Foundation members. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Good morning. In spite of the storm signal, our morning is made pleasant, fairer and brighter than it is by the very occasion of the unveiling of the foundation stone marker of the Philippine Judicial Academy Development Center. For we are today realizing our law he was elevated to the Supreme Court, where he set the record of having written the decision in the biggest ever tax assessment case. He is now the Vice Chancellor of the Philippine Judicial Academy, the Honorable Justo P. Torres, Jr.
Our illustrious Chief Justice Artemio B. Panganiban, Your Excellency, Roichiro Yamasaki, the Ambassador of Japan, the illustrious Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, Antonio Carpio, our esteemed Associate Senior Justice Renato Puno, our beloved Chancellor, Justice Omar-Pina Aguinaldo Milencio Herrera. I could see also our dear friend from the Supreme Court, Associate Justice Morales. And of course, there is Justice Manuel Lazaro, fellow jurists, friends, ladies and gentlemen. The privilege of opening this historic ceremony has been assigned to me, and to accomplish this task, I must do so briefly to allow our distinguished speakers ample time to deliver their significant messages for this occasion. Today, we are unveiling and signing the foundation stone marker for an edifice which will house the Philippine Judicial Development Center. As it is, a stone marker is a lifeless object unless it is transformed into a symbolism to portray a spirit that exudes life by reason of its purpose, history, and events which conspire to become a vibrant reality. We are here today for just that, to be witnesses to the building of a structure which will stand as an academy on a hill, overlooking the majestic Taal Lake and a glimpse of Corregidor, a mute witness to Filipino heroism. We all pay tribute to those who had a vision to foresee a credible and strengthened judiciary by establishing a judicial academy with development partners and friends in pursuit of judicial excellence. I'm sure that this academy will, in days and years ahead, be a shrine for those who believe in peace, justice, and freedom. Those who will come after us may no longer hear our voices today. But when highly trained and upright magistrates with moral courage, and I give this special emphasis, with moral courage, leave the portals of the Philippine Judicial Academy, the future of justice is secured. When the blessings of peace, justice, and freedom descend upon this land, I am certain It is a gift from the unseen hand. Thank you.
Tolentino, may we please call Councilor Romeo Mariano.
To Chief Justice Artemio Panganiban, Ambassador Ruyos Chika Yamasaki, I hope I have pronounced the name very well, and I'm sorry if not. To the esteemed executive officials and heads of the Philippine Judicial Academy, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant and wonderful morning. Just by now, mamaya hindi na. It is with much regret that our Honorable City Mayor Abraham and Tolentino cannot be with you today to personally grace the unveiling of the stone marker of the Philippine Judicial Academy. He had earlier scheduled the trip to Doha, Qatar, today as part of the Philippine delegation in his capacity as the Secretary General of the National Chess Federation of the Philippines. However, on his behalf and in behalf of the city government of Tagaytay, I would like to welcome you all to this very significant gathering that would mark yet another milestone in the history of our humble character city. The city of Tagaytay is indeed very fortunate to have been chosen as a home to an institution as prestigious and respectable as the Philippine Judicial Academy. Now, not only do we take pride of the numerous retreat houses and convents that have chosen our city as their vision, now we can also proudly proclaim that we are also home to the country's bastion of justice and equality. Today, we bear witness to the beginning of what we hope to be a closely knit and mutually beneficial relationship between the Philippine Judicial Academy and the city government of Tagaytay. We pledge our support for the undertakings that this institution shall take today and in the future in whatever humble ways we can. So once again, distinguished guests, our welcome greetings of congratulations to the Philippine Judicial Academy. Thank you very much. Mabuhay po tayong lahat and God bless you.
Mabuhay po kayo, Councilor Mariano. Thank you very much for the pledge of support for the Academy. Let us now go back in time and have a brief recollection of the history that brought us here today. The beginnings of the Philippine Judicial Academy Development Center will be recounted from the personal experience by one who was there, where and when was written the memorandum that made the Supreme Court majority owner of the site on which the Academy now stands. He was valedictorian of his class at UP Law, was a bar top-notcher, successful law practitioner, high government official in 1992, Chief Presidential Legal Counsel and later recipient of the Presidential Medal of Merit. He is now one of the senior associate justices of the Supreme Court of the Philippines, chairman of its Committee on Computerization and Library, Committee on the Halls of Justice, and Judicial Excellence Awards Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Justice Antonio T. Carpio.
Chief Justice Artemio V. Panganiban, my esteemed colleagues in the court, Ambassador Ruichiro Yamazaki, Chancellor Amarfina Herrera, members of the faculty of the Philippine Judicial Academy, distinguished jurists from the various constitutional courts of the various countries visiting us here, my fellow workers in government, distinguished guests, friends, good morning to everyone. 3 weeks ago, after the Supreme Court decision on the People's Initiative came out, Philippine Star columnist Marichu Villanueva wrote in a column entitled Carpe Diem that in 1995, or 11 years ago, while I was in Malacanang, I worked on a project with the judiciary, a project that I told her was confidential. Well, Ms. Villanueva is not here today, but I can disclose that that project involved looking for a site for the Philippine Judicial Academy. That project with the judiciary was how the Supreme Court acquired the 3.3-hectare lot where we are today, the site of the Philippine Judicial Academy building that will be constructed with the 300 million grant money from the Japanese government. It all happened in 1995, 6 years before I joined the Supreme Court. I was at that time the Presidential Legal Counsel of then President Fidel V. Ramos. Mr. Jose Rufino, then the President of LiveCorp, Livelihood Corporation, a government-owned corporation, reported to the President that LiveCorp was disposing this 3.3-hectare lot. At that time, I heard, or maybe I read in the papers, that then Chief Justice Narvasa was planning to put up a judicial academy. I thought that LiveCorp's 3.3-hectare, this lot, would be an ideal site for the Judicial Academy. I mentioned this to President Ramos in one of our meetings. President Ramos is familiar with this area because he has a rest house here in Tagaytay City. The President agreed that Tagaytay would indeed be ideal for a Judicial Academy site. The President said that a Judicial Academy would be a good undertaking by the judiciary and that the Executive Department should help the judiciary in whatever way it can in setting up the academy. So I called up Attorney Evner Villasanta and I mentioned to him that the Tagaytay lot would be available for the Judicial Academy that Chief Justice Narvasa was planning. I told Attorney Villasanta that the President had the power to transfer government property from one government unit to the other without any consideration. Attorney Villasanta said he informed Chief Justice Narvasa about it. A few days later, Attorney Villasanta called me to say that Chief Justice Narvasa was indeed interested and would like to know more about the Tagaytay lot. So I arranged for Mr. Rufino of LiveCorp to brief Attorney Villasanta about this lot, about its being titled in the name of Ridge Resort Country Club and the shareholdings of the government in Ridge Resort. Later, Attorney Villasanta, with a delegation of judges from Quezon City, together with Mrs. Hanina Narvasa, the wife of Chief Justice Narvasa, made an ocular inspection of this site. The buildings were in disrepair. However, they found the lot quite large and ideal for a judicial academy. They reported to Chief Justice Narvasa what they saw, and Chief Justice Narvasa decided to accept the offer to use this site as for the construction of the Judicial Academy. And so I drafted a 2-page deed of assignment between LiveCorp and the Supreme Court and a 1.5-page memorandum by the President authorizing LiveCorp to transfer its shareholdings in Ridge Resort to the Supreme Court. I arranged a signing ceremony on July 19, 1995 in Malacanang, where the President, Chief Justice Narvasa, and several Associate Justices were present. Mr. Rufino signed the deed of assignment on behalf of LiveCorp, and then Court Administrator Hernani Paño signed on behalf of the Supreme Court. That in brief is how the Tagaytay lot was transferred from the LiveCorp to the Supreme Court. From then on, the Philippine Judicial Academy, under the leadership of Justice Amorfina Herrera, worked to acquire more shares of Ridge Resort from the minority stockholders who have long forgotten about their shareholdings in Ridge Resort. I am personally pleased that from those initial steps in 1995, I now see that today, I'm pleased to see the actual historic unveiling of the foundation stone marker of the Philippine Judicial Academy. For the construction of the Philippine Judicial Academy building, the credit, of course, goes to former Chief Justice Davide, Chief Justice Panganiban, Chancellor Herrera, Ambassador Yamazaki, and Secretary Teves of the Department of Finance. Thank you and good day.
It could not have come earlier because we did not know. Now that we do, I think we should give Justice Carpio a warm round of applause as our way of saying maraming salamat po. The interim was an exciting time of piling up accomplishment after accomplishment for the Academy, of challenges concerning the establishment of the PHILJA Development Center, of winnings that would lead to the threshold of victory. To retrace the period, we have no less than the main reason why the Philippine Judicial Academy is what it is today, Madam Justice Abiorfina A. Melencio Herrera.
Thank you very much, DCA Perez, for that very generous introduction. Mr. Chief Justice Artemio Panganiban, Mr. Justice Renato Puno, Mr. Justice Antonio Carpio, Madam Justice Conchita Morales, Justice Presbítero Velasco, His Excellency Ambassador Yamazaki, our presiding justices of the Court of Appeals, of the Court of Tax Appeals, and of the Sandigan Bayan, our Court Administrator Locke, Councilor Mariano, former Mayor Francis Tolentino, both of the City of Tagaytay, Justice Manuel Lazaro, our generous donors, our faculty members, distinguished guests, Justice Justo Torres Jr., Mrs. Evelyn Dundum, DCA Jose Perez, our Master of Ceremonies, our participants in PHILJA's orientation program for new judges, our Asian Constitutional Court judges, our participants in PHILJA's orientation program for new judges, my fellow workers in the judiciary and in government, the PHILJA team, ladies and gentlemen, midday greetings to you all. From conceptualization in 1995 to near realization of a new and more fitting educational institution in 2005, those were 10 long and anxious years. We look back in time and reflect upon the defining moments. Justice Carpio has just narrated the beginnings of the project. Allow me to pick it up from there and narrate briefly how it has progressed in the interim. Shortly after the assignment to the Supreme Court on July 19, 1995, for the use of a judicial academy of the 51% of the government shareholdings in the Ridge Resort and Convention Center, or RRCC, which is a government, or which was a government sequestered corporation, the court authorized the Chief Justice to assign one qualifying share to each of 9 officials of the court who, if elected, would act as interim directors. They were so elected, and thereafter the interim board managed the RRCC. Plans were soon thereafter laid down for the construction of a new building, considering that as a recreation club, the original structures had limited space and lacked the essential requirements of an academic institution. With high expectations, a groundbreaking ceremony for a new building was held on November 23, 1998. In the interim, priority was given to the solicitation of donations of shares from listed stockholders and to repairs of the dilapidated buildings. The interim board retained the personnel of the RRCC, and it was business as usual, with facilities open to what was termed as walk-ins. The Academy also held its programs here whenever possible. However, labor problems were encountered with the former personnel of RRCC, and on February 19, 2002, the court approved the cessation of operations of the RRCC as a resort and convention center or as a business concern. The court then mandated that the operation of the RRCC shall continue only in pursuit of the purposes of judicial education as administered by the Philippine Judicial Academy, or PHILJA. The court thereafter assigned all of its shares and required the members of the interim board of directors to assign their shares as well to the Academy, which in turn, as the majority shareholder, was directed by the court to reorganize the board of directors. That was accomplished, and a new board has been serving since then for free. As majority stockholder and as a component unit of the court, PHILJA controls management. One of the first tasks of the new board was to change the name of the RRCC to the Philippine Judicial Academy Center, and, as directed by the court, to create a government corporation vested with public interest. Both have been accomplished. At an annual stockholders meeting, the name has been changed, and not long thereafter, the Department of Finance certified the Philippine Judicial Academy Development Center as a government-owned and controlled corporation. Also, in the interim, we worked for the proper titling